One percenters, welcome back. Coach Simon here today to talk to you about shoe technology. Now, technology is a double-edged sword. Most of the times we think technology is good and it's only benefiting us, but with any technology or any tool, it can help and hurt you. Now, specifically when we're talking about shoes, the shoes that you choose, these are some Kobe's basketball shoes. Okay, they are filled with the Zoom, and the heel is very, very rigid. Lots of padding. It's very firm, hard to bend. Okay, so it's very hard to bend, and any twisting is also very hard. The traction that you want to look at. Okay, the traction and the width of the foot. So for basketball, when we go and cut, we want a wide foot base, like this midfoot. We want it wide because we're stopping and starting all the time. We want it to bend a little bit here, but these don't bend that much. And then you want obviously a rigid heel or heel clip, so when you lift your foot, it comes up with it. That's why basketball shoes are kind of designed like this. The problem with really nice shoes like this that have a lot of cushioning and support is that you don't learn how to land correctly and your movements become kind of irregular. So those are basketball shoes, and they kind of all basketball shoes kind of share the same principles. These are LeBron's. So LeBron plays a little bit harder and heavier, and so this big air bubble on the back. These are also very rigid. You can't twist them. Once you stick your foot in them, they're pretty hard, so you have to put a lot of force to bend forward. Okay, so when you do bend forward, it'll naturally kind of lift your whole foot. For jumpers like LeBron and big time high flyers, they want lots of cushioning to land so they don't hurt themselves. In general, you should not be landing on your heels from a jump. It just doesn't work like that. Imagine going to go step on a box and I don't know, let's say 24-inch box, 30-inch box or something like that, and jumping off barefooted. How would you land? You definitely would not land on your heels. You just wouldn't do it. Your body wouldn't let you. You naturally wouldn't do it unless someone paid you to do it. Because if you landed on your heels, you would know that you'd probably break your ankles or knees or hips or all of the above. It's not good. So movements that we do in basketball that are normal, that are common, it's because the shoe technology allows us to do bad things. You do bad things long enough, and over time, you're going to injure your body, and so you get those overuse or chronic injuries, and you kind of notice that basketball kind of that jog that we do sometimes when you're really sore. You guys, we just do that weird jog where you just strut. You guys know what I'm talking about if you're a basketball player. These are Air Max 270s, not basketball shoes. It's kind of like a lifestyle shoe, walking shoe really. So you notice the treads on these, they all kind of go straight. So this shoe is really designed for you to just walk. So as you walk on your heel, your foot will roll forward. This thing will help you, and you kind of walk like this. With the LeBrons, you can see the pattern on the bottom is much different. So you can cut and move in all different directions. Most basketball shoes will kind of have this elevated heel thing for you, for your midfoot, for your arch, so you can be up on the balls of your feet a little bit better. Okay, so if the technology is building in that arch into your foot, that means your foot eventually will become dependent on a shoe that has a lot of arch support. So if you have flat feet, or if you've played a lot and developed plantar fasciitis, that's probably because your foot is now flat. That arch that is naturally, there on the bottom of your foot, it flattens out, your knee caves in, and that gives you that knee pain, the ankle pain, and the hip pain. Not a good idea to always be wearing basketball shoes. But I understand practice, sports, sometimes you just wear basketball shoes just because they look good. I encourage you guys to not wear shoes all the time. Be a little bit more barefoot, or in some flip-flops or something with a little bit less protection. Next shoe, New Balance. These are walking shoes. They're pretty thin. Okay, they're not as wide here as you would have with a basketball shoe, because this shoe is not designed for you to cut left and right or anything like that. It's mainly a walking shoe. It's very thin here and it's slightly raised. Okay, look at this really basic tread pattern. Okay, so again, walking shoes, easy way to tell is just flip the shoe over and you know what that shoe is designed to do. So these grooves and these treads, they kind of look like your car, and all your car does is really just go straight. Here is a Nike Flex training shoe. Okay, so for the walking shoe, as I bend it, it bends pretty easy here. So that's the walking shoe. And then with the Nike training shoe, this one bends really easy. And this one's very easy to twist. So as you see on the bottom there, it's designed to bend more naturally like that, how your foot bends. And this thing is very soft up top, allowing your toes to move and flex and extend and stuff like that. Back here is also not as firm as a basketball shoe. Same thing with all this. So this thing kind of crumbles up pretty easily. You would never want this out of a basketball shoe because it's too soft. The movements that you would do doing basketball are too aggressive, and you'd probably rip the side of this shoe off. I've worn plenty of Kobe's, the Flyknit ones or the cheaper ones, like back in the day, the fives. They would always tear on the side when you cut too much because the material on the side wasn't supported for those hard cuts and stops and starts. So you'll notice a lot of basketball shoes like Kyrie's, they're reinforced on this side, the lateral side, for cutting. Very, very little heel support. Okay, and the elevation of this is also very low compared to something like the LeBrons, quite higher, something even higher. So when I put these on, it feels like I'm wearing, feels like I'm tilting forward. If you have these Air Max 270, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so the technology can help you run faster, jump higher, but when you take them off, you'll notice that you're not as bouncy or as springy. Over time, if you guys are always wearing shoes, your mechanics will be really, really bad, and you'll just become really dependent on the newest, latest shoes. You'll throw away a pair of shoes because they won't be as bouncy or springy as they used to be. Technology is a double-edged sword, guys. It's like the calculator on your phone. I've forgotten how to do simple mathematics, like little multiplications. Oh, let me pull out my phone. Oh, let me just ask it on my iWatch. Simple things like that. I don't use my brain anymore, and I've basically outsourced my mathematics brain to my calculator. That to me doesn't seem like that big of a trade-off. But wearing shoes does. Always wearing shoes. When I took them off, and I always used to be on my feet, training, coaching. When I took my shoes off, I had plantar fasciitis, so I couldn't get up in the middle of the night to walk around and go to the restroom or just walk around barefoot. I always had to wear shoes. It was really, really uncomfortable. It took me a really long time to retrain and redevelop my feet. So my walking patterns got better, my squatting patterns got better, my lunging patterns got better. Everything is connected through your feet. Every time you take a step, there is an impulse or a shock or a chain that goes all the way through and up your body and out back your feet. So if you're not getting the connections and the stimulus from your feet touching the floor, you're always wearing gloves on your feet. So think about it. The next time you're choosing shoes, certain shoes are designed for different things, and the way they're designed to help you do a certain thing. But if you don't know how to do that thing without the shoes, you're ultimately going to hurt yourself. Another example that I like to give players and people is football players. They wear a helmet, and so they feel confident enough to duck their head and go tackle somebody and launch themselves with their helmet because they know the helmet will protect them. If you took that helmet off, there is no way you would go flying in at somebody like that. So the technology is good. It can save you, but it can also make you do some very harmful movements and bad things with your body. So hopefully this helps. My recommendations for you guys, if you're young, stay away from the really, really bulky shoes. Stick with the leaner ones, the Kobe's or the soccer shoes or something like that. that aren't as protected as like the Kyries or LeBrons. Get out of your shoes as much as possible. Be barefoot, just in your socks. When you're working out or doing something not as impactful, okay, do it barefoot. If you're doing some light drills or just shooting drills, do it in your socks or sandals, something with less support so you train your feet to be a little bit stronger. All right, hopefully all this information helps you guys. That's all I got for you guys. Remember to take 14 minutes, 24 seconds, or 1% of your day to get better.